Picture this. You're facing the most important decision of your life. Your mind races through every possible outcome, every piece of advice you've ever received, every similar situation you've encountered before. And then you freeze. This paralysis, according to history's greatest swordsman, is exactly what kills you. Miyamoto Musashi won over 60 duels without a single defeat. But near the end of his life, he revealed something shocking. His greatest discovery wasn't a technique. It wasn't a strategy. It was something he called the void. And it might be the solution to the very problem destroying your potential right now. Musashi wrote about strategy, timing, rhythm, and combat with surgical precision. Yet in his final writings, he turned to something far more difficult to explain: the void. Most people who encounter this concept today make an immediate mistake. They assume it's about meditation, mysticism, or Eastern philosophy wrapped in poetic mystery. Musashi meant none of these things. To him, the void wasn't absence. It wasn't emptiness. It wasn't some transcendent state you achieve on a mountaintop. The void was what remained when confusion disappeared. And here's what makes this relevant to you. Musashi discovered that warriors didn't fail because they lacked strength, technique, or courage. They failed because their minds were crowded. Crowded with expectations. Crowded with techniques they'd memorized. Crowded with images of how they thought things were supposed to unfold. Sound familiar? Because in the modern world, we're drowning in the same problem. Think about your last major decision. Maybe it was a career move, a difficult conversation, a business opportunity. How many articles did you read? How many people did you consult? How many mental simulations did you run? And after all that preparation, did you act decisively? Or did you hesitate? Musashi identified hesitation as the true enemy. Not ignorance, hesitation. Throughout his life, Musashi observed something profound. The most dangerous moment wasn't when someone knew nothing. It was when they knew a little and clung to it desperately. Warriors who had studied for years would freeze in combat because they were searching through their mental library for the correct response. They had the knowledge, but the knowledge became a cage. By the time they decided which technique to use, the moment had passed. This is happening to you right now. You attend workshops, read books, consume podcasts, collect frameworks. You're more educated than any generation in history. Yet when the critical moment arrives, when you need to launch that project, have that difficult conversation, make that bold move, you overthink yourself into paralysis. You have more information than Musashi ever had access to. But do you have his clarity? Musashi called this partial understanding the burden of knowledge. Modern psychology has a different name for it: analysis paralysis. But the solution Musashi discovered 400 years ago is still radical today. The void was freedom from this burden. But here's what most people miss. Musashi didn't discover it by rejecting discipline or avoiding training. The void emerged only after deep, sustained practice, when technique no longer demanded conscious thought. Think of it like learning to drive. Remember your first time behind the wheel? You consciously thought about every movement. Check mirror, signal, adjust speed, turn wheel. Now, you drive while having conversations, drinking coffee, and planning your day. The technique dissolved into your body. Musashi wrote that this same principle applied to strategy and to life itself. In the beginning, form was necessary. Structure guided action. But over time, attachment to form became the obstacle. The void appeared when action and intention became one. In this state, there was no internal debate, no committee meeting in your head weighing options, no conflict between thought and movement. Action arose instantly, without resistance. Now, this wasn't recklessness. Musashi was very clear about that. He had seen impulsive fighters die quickly. The void existed between two extremes. It was neither the paralysis of overthinking nor the chaos of impulse. It was precision without delay. But how do you actually reach this state? Musashi had a specific answer. Musashi believed that readiness came from removing fixation, not adding more knowledge, not acquiring more techniques, removing what obstructed clarity. Fixation on victory, fixation on reputation, fixation on plans, fixation on being right. All fixation narrowed perception. Here's a modern example. You're in a heated meeting. You came prepared with your argument, your data, your carefully rehearsed points. But then the conversation takes an unexpected turn. Someone raises an objection you didn't anticipate. If you're fixated on delivering your prepared speech, you miss the opportunity right in front of you. If you're fixated on winning the argument, you miss the chance to actually solve the problem. Your preparation, your knowledge, your plan, it all becomes an obstacle. In the void, perception was wide and unobstructed. Musashi wrote that when the mind clung to nothing, it could respond to anything. This was adaptability in its purest form. Think about the best conversation you've ever had, the most creative solution you've ever generated, the moment when everything just clicked. I guarantee you weren't following a script. You weren't anxiously reviewing your talking points. You were present, responsive, and free. That was the void. Musashi also applied this to emotion. He trained himself to remain unmoved by extremes. Praise didn't inflate him. Insults didn't provoke him. He understood that emotional disturbance distorted perception just as much as ignorance. In the void, emotion existed but didn't dominate. Fear might appear, but it didn't dictate action. Desire might arise, but it didn't control timing. This emotional neutrality allowed Musashi to remain present, and presence to him was the doorway to the void. So how do you apply this today, in a world where you're not fighting duels with swords? First, understand what you're fighting. You're fighting the same enemy Musashi faced, the division between knowledge and action, between intention and execution, between who you want to be and what you actually do. Musashi believed many people lived their entire lives in constant internal conflict. Their actions contradicted their intentions. Their goals conflicted with their values. This division created exhaustion and confusion. The void resolved division. Start here. Identify one area where you're stuck in preparation mode. Maybe you've been getting ready to start a business for 2 years. Maybe you've been planning to have an important conversation for months. Maybe you've been thinking about making a change that you know you need to make. You don't need more research. You don't need another course. You need to remove the fixation that's keeping you frozen. Ask yourself, what am I clinging to? What am I afraid to release? Maybe it's the fixation on having a perfect plan. Maybe it's the fixation on avoiding all risk. Maybe it's the fixation on what others will think. Second, practice presence in low-stakes situations. Musashi didn't suddenly become present in life or death duels. He trained it constantly. You can do this in everyday conversations. Can you listen without planning your response? Can you respond to what's actually happening, rather than what you expected to happen? Third, let your training dissolve. If you've been studying negotiation for years, stop consciously applying techniques in every conversation. If you've been learning leadership principles, stop mentally checking off boxes during interactions. Trust that the training has entered your body. Let it act through you rather than from you. Musashi warned that the void couldn't be imitated. Those who attempted to appear detached without understanding became careless. Those who rejected discipline in pursuit of freedom found only chaos. The void was the result of mastery, not the shortcut to it. Toward the end of his life, Musashi wrote something profound. True mastery appeared ordinary. There was no visible struggle, no tension, no dramatic display. The greatest actions looked simple because they occurred without internal resistance. When you watch someone operating in the void, whether they're an entrepreneur making rapid decisions, a surgeon in the operating room, or a parent responding to a crisis, it looks effortless, not because it's easy, but because it's direct. All their energy flows in one direction instead of leaking through hesitation and doubt. This is what you're capable of. Not sometime in the future, after you've consumed enough content or attended enough seminars. Right now, in whatever situation you're facing. The void isn't mysterious. It's clarity after everything unnecessary has been removed. Musashi didn't seek the void as an escape from reality. He entered it through engagement, through discipline, through repeated confrontation with what was actually in front of him. And once entered, it allowed him to move freely within any situation. This freedom wasn't arrogance. It was humility before reality. Here's what Musashi understood that most people miss. The void revealed what was always present, but rarely seen. When the mind stopped clinging, reality showed itself clearly. When reality was clear, action required no force. The void wasn't something added to life. It was what remained when illusion fell away. So stop preparing to be ready. Stop waiting for perfect clarity. Stop collecting more techniques, more frameworks, more knowledge. You already know what you need to do. The only question is, what are you clinging to that's preventing you from doing it? Release it and act. Here are 10 takeaways. The void is clarity, not emptiness. Hesitation is born from fixation. Excess knowledge can obstruct perception. Technique must dissolve into action. Readiness outperforms rigid planning. Emotional extremes distort judgment. Presence opens the doorway to clarity. Adaptability requires freedom from form. True mastery appears simple. When confusion is removed, action becomes effortless.